of the things under my bed.
Well, hey guys, how we doing? It's Jazz Vendor, Jazz for short, the Mindset Hacker, which only mean one thing, that this is the Mindset Hacker podcast. That's Cascade with Phoenix. How's everybody, guys? Our topic for tonight is how to elevate your identity. It's no small undertaking. It's no small subject for discussion. So I boiled this down to 7 steps. There are lots of ways you can approach these things. I could give you 100 steps. I could give you 1 step. Let's make it 7. You'll realize eventually that there are 1,000 ways to present this understanding of the journey of the self, the journey of your identity, your point of identification, moving from the not self to the self. Now, I'm not talking about the peaks of yogic self-realization and seeing the body as congealed light. That's all very well and good. It's all perfectly real, perfectly legitimate. I'm talking about you moving on from the BS. You moving beyond everything holding you back. You closing the gap between the person that you know you could be, the person that you really are on the inside, versus the person that you've become habituated to being. That's what we're talking about. It's an infinite journey. It's a journey that demands your attention. It demands your best effort. And the beauty of a process like this, as it was said in the ancient book, the Yoga Vashisht, is he says that even if there is nothing at the end of this journey, even if there is no capital T truth for you to find, that the nature of pursuing truth, the nature of pursuing this work itself, just the effort of the undertaking, has a way of purifying you, strengthening you, humbling you, evolving you. So I'm not one for dogma or doctrine, but I am one for results. And just like the man said, you will have results worth fighting for if you pursue this journey of the self. Number 1 is think long and hard about what you enjoy and what you want. Napoleon Hill said in the book Think and Grow Rich that most people don't really make any kind of decisions at all in their lives. They just proceed by a matter of default to what is the most readily available, the low-hanging fruit. Most of us go to school because that's just what one does. We just choose a major that seems sensible. We fall into whatever kind of line of employment is available to us at that time that we're looking for a job based on either our academic credentials or our connections or wherever we find a job. We just pick like it's off of a menu. And that's what's called living deductively. You survey your available options and you pick something, but you have no prior compass. You have no compass with you before setting out. You just take the path that seems walkable, that seems doable, without having invested any real thinking power into what you really like to do and what you really want to be, do, and have. So think long and hard about those things. Better to think about them now than waking up at some point in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and suddenly realizing, now you can still do it. Better late than never. But sooner is better than later, even if later is better than never. Right? Think long and hard about it. What do you love to do? What would you do if you had all the money in the world? And don't just say sit around. Don't just say go on a yacht and pour champagne on fake boobs. You don't really want to do that. Nobody really wants to spend their life doing that. And the people that you see doing that on Instagram don't really spend their lives doing that, just so you know. Think long and hard about what you enjoy and what you want. Step 2, study the people who have already acquired what you are seeking. Most of these people are actually abundantly generous about the information, sharing the information of how they got there, what they had to give up along the way, the mentality that had to change before they started to see real progress. They will help you. They will help you to understand and be realistic about what it will take in terms of effort, in terms of commitment, in terms of time, in terms of sacrifice, which is why you need to have already thought long and hard about what you enjoy and what you want, and then realize what it will take. It might take time. As they say, the time will pass anyway. I would rather the time pass being spent after something, having the time being spent with me being after something that means something to me. Because at least I've committed my life to something that has meaning, has value to me personally. I think I could have made myself much more comfortable, financially especially, a long time ago, if I had been willing to just play the game. And I've never been willing. I've never been willing to play the game. I always just wanted what I wanted. And yes, I've paid a price for that. But I could always afford to pay that price. What you can't afford is to live someone else's life. I know this is heavy shit that I'm laying on you. What are you going to do? Number 3, implement one habit per month that is conducive to growth. Just one. It could be working out. It could be meditating. It could be eating better. It could be flossing. Don't go big right away. You'll do this every single month. So just go small for the first few months. Do little things. Little things. Waking up an hour earlier. Journaling. Something. One habit per month. Study these guys. Find the person who is the top person, or like the top 5 people in whatever area that you're all about. I mean, it could be anything, guys. I'm not just talking about building orphanages in Malaysia. I mean, go ahead and build an orphanages. I'm just saying. It doesn't have to be that. If you like people who are, I don't know, the World Series of Poker, study the people who are always winning that. If you're into business and entrepreneurship, well, you should be studying, the Warren Buffetts and the Bill Gates of the world. I think that's pretty obvious. If you're into technology and things like that, well, then it's your Steve Jobs and, of course, Bill Gates again and people like that. You know who to study. Adopt the habits. Adopt the habits. One habit per month. Do things that they do. Number 4, eliminate one bad habit per month. One bad habit per month's got to go. Could be anything. Some of the things we talked about yesterday. But I would say things like, you know what they are. You know what your bad habits are. I don't need to run through this laundry list and embarrass you. I think you're perfectly aware of that. One bad habit per month. Let it go. But also, what I would do is I'd get a piece of paper and I would coordinate the habits that I'm adopting with the habits that I'm letting go of. Like, for example, if you're trying to eat better, eat more, dark leafy greens and, getting your sugars from things like dates and figs and, raw honey taken medicinally, things like that. Well, it might also make sense to drop the bad habit of, binging on fast food or eating entire bags of Halloween candy as a snack. I knew someone who did that. They were like a colon hydrotherapist and they were addicted to Halloween candy. Oh, the irony. Life is abundantly rich with irony. That's for fucking sure. Eliminate one bad habit per month. That's number 4. Number 5, support your inner transformation with media and friendships. I think that makes perfect sense. You want to get the podcasts going. You want to get the lecture series going on the YouTube. I keep saying the YouTube. I lived in LA. We talk about like the 405 and the 110 and the 10, the 202. So I say the YouTube and the Facebook. Support your transformation with media and friendships. If you are trying to cultivate the faculty of reason, then you might want to listen to podcasts by someone like Sam Harris, or you might want to listen to debates with Christopher Hitchens and anybody. Christopher Hitchens just demolishes everybody in his path with his reason and his logic and his rhetoric, which is a thing of beauty. The language that he uses extemporaneously. Well, there's lots of people, Bertrand Russell, smart people. And also hang out with people, associate with people who are already at the level that you're trying to be at. Tim Ferriss, someone you should be listening to in your podcasts, he talks about the virtue of being the weakest person in the room, challenging yourself, getting out of your depth, out of your league routinely, and writing yourself into situations where you are cooperating and collaborating and co-creating with people around whom you are the weakest person. Because you will not be the weakest person for long. It's just a matter of process, right? Number 6 is adopt a healthy attitude regarding mistakes and limitations. There's a reason this is number 6, because when you get in the game, when you identify your goals, when you identify what really drives you, what you really value, what you really want, and you learn about the people who have already gotten it, and then you start modeling your life after theirs. You do as they do. You don't do as they don't do. And you support that transformation with habits and friendships, with the input from the masters through media, where you elevate your mind, even with things like music. Maybe you don't want to listen to music that doesn't talk about anything but like sex and drugs anymore. Maybe you want to listen to string quartet music, or some kind of art music. It could be anything, guys. I put on, I'll listen to, like a Marina the Diamond song, or I'll even, don't tell anybody, I'll even put on a Lady Gaga song every now and then. My goodness, I'm actually admitting this on the internet. Because it just pumps me the F up, and it just gets me in the zone. It gets that kind of killer instinct, just amped up thing in my bloodstream. And I just find myself locking in mentally on what I need to do next. So you don't have to, I'm not saying be into some snooty high art shit, unless you already are. Go learn about things, stretch your mind, listen to some Bela Bartok, some Edgar Varese, some Igor Stravinsky, listen to things that challenge your ear. Late John Coltrane, late Miles Davis. Listen to things that are going to challenge your palate. It'll make you a better person. It will absolutely make you a better person. If you're not in it from some egotistical pissing contest, if you are in it to be humbled and to grow yourself, and to bring your mind before minds that have made much greater sacrifices than you could ever imagine. You need to adopt a healthy attitude towards mistakes. You are limited. You are frail. You are fragile. So am I. I'd say 80% of what I was able to accomplish in the last 3 years is because of forgiving myself for my weakness, my propensity for mistakes. I'm able to accomplish a great deal more having forgiven myself for being a mistake-making animal. And that brings me to my last point, number 7, fall in love with the journey. Fall in love with the journey. Don't make this about, results and your name on a plaque and money in the bank and your waistline. Make this about living a life that you love. You can do it. Well, guys, it's been a pleasure talking to you. My name is Jazz Vinder, Jazz for short. This is the Minds of Hacker podcast. And we'll talk again soon.